Hebrews. This is our Prophets of Awakening. This is our evening Sabbath class. Close out the Sabbath. That's 18th of December, 2021. I'll be dealing with Melchizedek. Shining some light on that later on in the class. I'm asking everybody to like, share, subscribe to the Prophet of Awakening. Hit the notification button if you can. And want everybody to know that this is a non-Messianic channel. We deal with the Tanakh and the Torah. Tanakh is the Old Testament, which is also called the Book of Remembrance, and Torah, which is the first 5 books of the Old Testament that was given to Moses on Mount Sinai by the Lord of Hosts, the Savior and Redeemer of Israel. So shalom and welcome everyone to Prophets of Awakening. We're going to do our moment of silence, prayer, songs, and then we'll do a little current events. Okay? This moment of silence is for the Creator and his Redeemer, the Lord of Hosts, and all that they're doing to orchestrate our deliverance, turn our captivity. Oh Lord, we thank you for your great mercy, for your great power and wisdom, and we tarry waiting for your powerful deliverance, your people Israel. Oh Lord, you have given us insight into the scriptures of our forefathers. You, oh Lord, have directed us to who you are and your role in the going on of heaven and earth. When we come at the end of this Sabbath day, doubtless that you will appear, that you will gather your nation from among these wicked Gentiles. Oh Lord, you spoke through your prophet Isaiah and said that you would help Abraham's seed. And you have done that. You have completed that promise to this day. You said, oh Lord, that you would remove darkness from around us. Tarry, oh Lord, for the latter days are here, and we are waiting and watching for you. Peace be on you. Okay? So, get the songs out here. Okay. Psalm 24, the David, the Psalm of David, King of glory. The earth is the Lord's, and the fullness thereof, the world, and they that dwell therein. For he hath founded it upon the seas, and established it upon the floods. Who shall ascend into the hill of the Lord, or who shall stand in his holy place? He that hath clean hands and a pure heart, who have not lifted up his soul unto vanity, nor sworn deceitfully. He shall receive the blessings from the Lord, and righteousness from the God of his salvation. This is the generation of them that seek him, that seek thy face, O Jacob. Selah, lift up your heads, O ye gates, and be ye lifted up, ye everlasting doors, and the King of glory shall come in. Who is the King of glory? The Lord strong and mighty, the Lord mighty in battle. Lift up your heads, O ye gates, even lift them up, ye everlasting doors, and the King of glory shall come in. Who is the King of glory? The Lord of hosts. He is the King of glory. Selah. So that's Psalms 24, King of glory, from the mouth of David. Okay. Anybody got any comments? Okay.
Yes, Leonard, verse 6. This is the generation of them that seek him,
Right.
that seek thy face, O Jacob. I feel this is the generation that is being spoken of in this particular verse.
Right.
And you can precept that with Daniel chapter 12, where it says knowledge will increase in the latter days. So this is that generation that is seeking the face of the Lord of hosts.
Right. Yeah. You can. Yeah. That's you can go to another verse to seal that off. Is I always go to 44, 1-5. Say, yet now hear, O Jacob, my servant, and Israel, whom I have chosen. Thus says the Lord that made thee and formed thee from the womb, which will help thee. Fear not, O Jacob, my servant, and O Jezreel, whom I have chosen, for I will pour water upon him that is thirsty, floods upon dry ground, and I will pour my spirit upon thy seed, my blessings upon thine offspring, and they shall spring up as among the grass, as willows by the watercourse. And one shall say, I am the Lord's, and another shall call himself by the name of Jacob, and another shall subscribe with his hands unto the Lord, and surname himself by the name of Israel. So that's all three of those verses synchronized together with each other.
Right, right.
Yeah. Anybody else?
Hey, Lamp,
Okay.
how about Hosea 3, verse 4? I don't have my Bible, but
Let me get it right quick. 3, chapter 3, verse 4.
yeah.
For the children of Israel shall abide many days without a king, and without a prince, and without a sacrifice, and without an image, and without an ephod, and without a teraphim. Yeah, same thing. All those go together.
Yeah, that next verse.
The next one, afterwards shall the children of Israel return, seek the Lord their God and David their king, and shall fear the Lord and his goodness in the latter days. Yeah. Yeah, all those verses go together. So all line upon line, precept upon precept.
Yeah, we are that generation.
Exactly. That we was talking earlier about what Enoch had proclaimed about that 70th generation. That's us. That's us. We at that 70th generation. Ain't that something? So in
Hey,
verse
Leonard,
4, go ahead.
verse 3 of Psalms 24, who shall ascend into the hill of the Lord? Who shall stand in his holy place? I think he asked that question earlier in Psalms 15, where he
Okay.
gave asked that question and answered it.
Right. So it's him, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Ain't that something?
Oh, yeah.
You know, I
So
was
it's
talking
just
about.
David establishing it again.
Right. Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was talking about the soul this morning too. It says in verse 4, he that have clean hands and a pure heart, who have not lifted up his soul unto vanity, nor sworn deceitfully. So when he said lifted up their soul, that's the other entities or other fallen angels. And that's what I was saying about when you're dealing with the Most High, you're dealing with Him, your soul dealing with Him. That's a big difference when you soul out, trying to deal with Him. Right. Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Anybody got any current events? Yeah, I got a little confirmation on this nudging I told you I was getting about this cryptocurrency. Let me hit this right here. Let's see. Yeah, here you go, right here. Okay. Oh, my bad. Mm. Can you see that?
Yes.
Yeah, it said Motley Fool's $5 million crypto bet. So this I mean everybody should know what this is, but it's this like a uh, Howard Hugh Jackson, sort of like a investment firm. It says Bill Gates has called it a technological tour de France, de force. Elon Musk has said that outside his companies, uh, Tesla, CISA, whatever that is, and SpaceX is the only major personal investment he has. That we're talking about is cryptocurrency, the most controversial and volatile investment we have ever come across. And yet, our team, as a motley fool, believes And it's so much that we have purchased 5 million of our favorite cryptocurrencies using our own capital. So that's a mouthful right there. Is there something?
Yes, sir. For them to put so much of their money up towards cryptocurrency, because usually, you know, they're not using their own money.
Right. They know something we don't know. You know. Okay. Let me get out of this right quick. Okay, I got another one in this get over here. I think this happened this happened like today sometime early today.
It's a reminder of what our ancestors went through. For us to be here today, after over 400 years, it signifies the resilience of the people. For us to be standing right here, so as we throw the rocks into the Atlantic Ocean, we're going to tell the enslavers once and for all that, well, you may have won for over 400 years. Victory is ours now. For we are back. Africa, but they don't want the African. And we're here tonight to say, no Africa without the African. Yeah. That African people said that 400 years was up 2 years ago. In order for 400 years to be up of enslavement and of a slave narrative, it means our minds must change. And what we will visit here tonight will show when we began to be changed from our dignified African self into new characters that were defined by our enemy. There was no African Americans that were captured on this continent 400 years ago. There were no Jamaicans captured on this continent 400 years ago. There were no Trinidadians. There were no Cubans. There were none of these names were known to us. Africans were captured, and they remanufactured us in their image and their likeness, and gave us new names and new titles. And this is the beginning of stripping us of that identity. When we see pictures of our ancestors naked, coming from the interior of Africa, it was to suggest that we did not have a culture, that we did not have customs, that we did not have. And we've gone through this so many times. We have remembered our ancestors, what they went through 400 years ago. What are we doing? What are we doing? Are we going to continue talking? We will be back next year. We were here last year. We are going to be here next 5 years. What are we doing to concretize what the wrongs that were done to us?
So, dear friends and fellow Afghan, this was happening in the door of North.
Yeah, so what's going on is they in slave castle at the door of return, and they are all throwing stones into the water to signify that that part of our legacy is over with. So we want to get the full impact of that and see the video. It's Dr. Al Connor and the diaspora changed the door of return, door of no return, threw stones into the Atlantic Ocean. Okay, any comments? Okay, so let me give you that I got here. Yeah, let me play this right here. This is all this stuff is. I mean, we so close. We so close to the door. It's pathetic. Let me play this right here. All these are signs. Here we go.
Rosetta Stone. It's one of the most precious artifacts of all time, the first clue to understanding ancient Egyptian scripts. It led to the discovery of at least 3 writing systems. This stone is as old as modern civilization, the Rosetta Stone. Then we have the Elgin Marbles, a set of Greek sculptures from the 5th century. They were built to decorate Parthenon, the Temple of Athena. They're exquisite, just like the Benin bronzes. This is a collection of metal plaques. They once decorated the kingdom of Benin. The Benin bronzes are an African treasure. They show how skilled African artists were. Then comes the Tanjore Shiva, another masterpiece. It's a bronze statue of Lord Shiva, the Hindu god, made almost 1,000 years ago during the Chola dynasty, a testimony to the remarkable craftsmanship of the sculptors of ancient India. These are all stunning pieces of art. Do you know what's common between them? They're all present in the British Museum, or should I say the British warehouse of loot. These artifacts were either stolen or won by force or acquired unfairly. Today they serve as a cruel reminder of colonial times. But the British Museum displays them with pride. It presents them as prized treasures, showing no sense of remorse for the past crimes or gratitude for the people from whom these were taken. And why just Britain? Museums across Europe are filled with such objects, with uncomfortable histories linked to colonialism. So here's a question. Do they have the right to keep displaying these objects? Hello and welcome to Gravitas Plus. I'm Palki Sharma Upadhyay. They say in law, a thief is not allowed to keep ill-gotten gains. No matter how long ago they were taken, they must be returned. No matter how much that thief may have improved them, they must be returned. European nations wrongfully took cultural riches. They took them from countries that are now independent states. But most of them refuse to even discuss returning them. They refuse to make reparations for their historical wrongs. According to the Archaeological Institute of America, 85 to 90% of classical artifacts in museums do not have a documented provenance, meaning they don't have a record of ownership or a record of origin through which museums can justify their right to possess these objects. Most of these artifacts are from Africa and Asia. In 2018, the French government commissioned a report. Guess what they found? Nearly 90% of Africa's cultural heritage is held by museums and institutions outside of Africa, nearly 90%. France alone has 90,000 such objects, stolen objects. A majority of them can be found at the Quai Branly Museum. It's a state-of-the-art museum situated in Paris. It holds a vast collection of art, indigenous art from the 8 African colonies that France once ruled. Last month, French President Emmanuel Macron decided to make some amends. He made French museums bid adieu to a trove of treasures. At least 26 stolen artifacts taken from the Kingdom of Benin were sent back. The works included palatial doors and royal thrones. They were all returned as a gesture of humility.
Today's gesture is the possibility.
Ain't that something? So we see, just like the Most High said, they starting to do exactly what he prophesied was going to happen. These people starting to have to cough up what they stole. All this stuff, everything is happening right in front of our face. Like I said, we so close to the door. It's pathetic. Anybody have any comments on that? Okay. Yeah. So with that being said, I'm gonna open up for some Q&A. Did anybody watch that rest of that video with the Israelite assemblies, with the guy was talking about the 22 things they had on Jesus to show that he wasn't real? Did anybody watch? No? Okay. Yeah, so I'm opening up for some Q&A. Anybody got any questions or comments about this morning or something they read or something we did last week?
Hey, Leonard, I do have a question.
Okay.
On Exodus 16,
okay.
Verses 32 through 34. We don't have to read it. I could just put it in a nutshell. That the Lord of hosts commanded Aaron and Moses to put a jar of manna next to the before the testimony.
Right.
My question is, how is that so? Being that the Ten Commandments was given in chapter 19, and then Moses didn't write the ark wasn't built yet to lay it before the testimony, and then Moses wrote the book of the covenant in chapter 24. So when it says, is this just out of order or something? Because
yeah, it's out of order.
Oh, okay. Because I'm like, how can you lay it before the testimony is built? The ark was built, and the Ten Commandments placed in the ark.
Right. The Ten Commandments was given at a different time than when the ark was built.
Right, because this was done when he told him to put the manna in the jar. Right. This was done on the second month of them coming out of Egypt, whereas he gave them the Ten Commandments in the third month. So this here is definitely before it's taking place, definitely before the Ten Commandments was done. Was given.
Right. I'm thinking that they had all these different artifacts and stuff that related to their history with the Lord of Hosts, and by the time they built the Ark of the Covenant, all that stuff was placed in it. Because you notice they put Moses' rod in there too.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Right. So all that stuff was placed in there as for verification that all this stuff happened.
Right.
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
That's what I take it. Okay. Anybody else?
Hey, Lamp.
Yeah.
More like a comment. Could you read Isaiah 29, 26 and 19?
Okay.
That's more like Isaiah saying he gonna be resurrected. And I've always read over that. That just caught my attention today.
Right. Verse 19.
Yeah.
Thy dead body shall live together with my dead body shall they arise, awake and sing. Ye shall dwell in the dust, for thy dew is as the dew of earth, and the earth shall cast out her dead. Yeah. Yeah, that's go right along with Ezekiel 37. And it go along
Right.
go along with what Joseph told him. When y'all leave, I'll be dead, but take my sepulchre and my bones with you to Zion. And another one is Daniel. What he told Daniel at the end of chapter 12. Let me get it up here. He told Daniel in chapter 12, starting at verse 10. Many shall be purified and made white and tried, but the wicked shall do wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand, but the wise shall understand. And from the time of the daily sacrifice shall be taken away, and the abomination that maketh desolate set up. There shall be 1,290 days. Blessed is he that waiteth and cometh to 1,305 days. Then 13 says, you're talking to Daniel, but go thy way to the end, for thou shalt rest, die, you're going to die, and stand in thy lot at the end of days. So you're going to pass away, and then there's 12 lots, 12 tribes in Israel, you're going to stand back up with your fathers in your lot. Ain't that something?
Hey, Leonard, read verse 2 of Daniel 12.
Right, it says, many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some the everlasting life, some the shame and everlasting contempt. Yeah. These verses right here, you can't get around them. I'm telling you point blank, because they already, all these our forefathers already knew they're gonna get resurrected. They weren't waiting on no son to come and die on no cross. They already knew they was gonna get resurrected. The Lord of hosts had already promised them that. Ain't that something? Anybody else? Okay, let me play this right here. Then I'm gonna go into that Melchizedek thing. It's another one of those signs I was telling you about.
News channel. I'm Ungil Zalalam bringing you this report. Today, I want us to talk about an article I found, and I thought it was really interesting. It was talking about how the US troops are positioning themselves in Djibouti, flying to Djibouti from the US. Djibouti is Ethiopia's neighbor, like they're next to each other, basically. So they are positioning themselves there. And, you know, why? I'll leave that to you, but let me review this article and we'll come back and talk about it. The article is from the drive.com. They wrote, plane spotters using online flight tracking software have noticed an unusual uptick in U.S. Air Force logistics flights, primarily involving C-17A Globemaster 3 cargo planes heading from various points in the United States to the East African country of Djibouti in the past few days. Yeah. This comes amid reports that the U.S. military has started positioning troops in the region for a potential evacuation operation into neighboring Ethiopia, which is embroiled in a civil conflict. An alliance of armed groups in the country is now threatening to march on the capital and overthrow Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed if he does not step down and open a path to a new government. Since November 19, 2021, at least 16 different C-17As, as well as a larger C-5 Galaxy cargo plane, have been tracked flying from multiple U.S. Army bases in the United States, Fort Bragg in North Carolina, Fort Campbell in Kentucky, and Fort Stewart in Georgia, to Djibouti International Airport. The aircraft have all made their way to East Africa via a number of common intermediate destinations, including Bangor in Maine, Ramstein Air Base in Germany, and Moron Air Base in Spain. If you remember last month, an ex-NATO, and he's also US Navy, he was talking about how America should intervene. US troops should go in Ethiopia and, you know, bring peace. This savior, you know, complex that US has is just, I could never understand it. And so he was talking about that, and it received a lot of backlash because we all know what he's trying to say. The same way they enter other countries trying to help, we already knew what that was about, and people started saying hashtag no more, do not intervene, we don't need you. If anything, if anybody gets to intervene, it's going to be the AU because we're just gonna solve it ourselves. African problems deserve African solutions. So no, we don't need your help. Do not send your troops. That happened, and that received a lot of backlash. Now I found this article, and they were talking about the air traffic and how US has been sending their troops, their jets, to Djibouti, our next door neighbor, Ethiopia's next door neighbor, and they're just getting ready to God knows what. Well, we know what it's about. They want allegedly to come into Ethiopia because they've been talking about this. We're not, you know, coming up with this narrative. They are the ones that told us about their plans. So I would be careful if I was them, because at this moment in time, no one is going to fall for their lie. No one is going to say, "Ooh, US is sending their troops to help Ethiopians." When I'm telling you, no one, unless and otherwise you really, really trying to believe the lie. It's just plain and simple. The evidence is there. So no one will want US help, especially US troops, to come in and bring peace in our country. Are you serious? Are you trying to be funny? Like, with all the chaos that we know to happen in other African countries, you think we will buy it? Not even just African countries, the Middle East. How did they help the people, really? Like, by sending their troops? So we know better, and we're not going to accept it. But the fact that this has been documented, and like they have been sending their jets to Djibouti, tells us what we need to know, and it tells us that we need to be vigilant because the enemy is getting closer. Anyways, guys, let us know down below what your thoughts are about this. I am Ungil.
Okay. In the comments, like I said before, they all gearing up for something. They're saying that the lady was informing us that they got secret flights leaving from all different type of bases from America over to Ethiopia. You know, unbeknownst to us, only we know is because they put it out on diaspora news. Because they sending out secret troops and planes into Africa. You know, they already shut down Southern Africa with that talking about the Omicron virus. Something going on. Anybody heard anything about that?
Nah, that's news to me. I haven't seen anything come across my news feed in reference to that.
Yeah. So you should be, like I said, you should be prepared to wake up one of these days soon, and it's gonna be, you know, it ain't gonna be the same. Let me give this one more, and then I'm gonna go into that Melchizedek thing. Yeah, it says, this an article right here. It says, Russia threatens war unless U.S. abandons Eastern NATO allies. So, Biden put pressure on Russia, and Russia came back. He says, Russian President Vladimir Putin will bear the blame for the Russian soldiers coming. This is just a threat. They're not in a position to be making no threats like this. Russian President Vladimir Putin will bear the blame for Russian soldiers coming into coming home in body bags if he orders a new invasion of Ukraine. President Joe Biden administration said in response to the Kremlin's latest high-stakes maneuvers. The Russian people don't need war with Ukraine. A senior administration officials told reporters Friday they don't need their sons coming home in body bags. They don't need another foreign adventure. So we hope that that President Putin will take this opportunity for diplomacy and will also listen to the needs of his own people. That sparked warnings followed the release of a draft treaty proposal from Moscow that Russian officials portrayed as a resolution for the standoff, which has intensified as Russian forces amassed near Ukraine's border. Yet the Russian document demands not only that NATO promised never to admit Ukraine to the alliance, but it also goes as far as to demand the removal of U.S. and Western European forces from Central and Eastern Europe, a rollback that would amount to a practical breakdown of the NATO. So they gave him an ultimatum. He turned around and gave them an ultimatum. Yeah, don't sound good to me. Okay. And comment. Okay. With that
Hey,
being
man,
said, what you got?
could that be Osiris?
Yeah, you can say that. I would say out of the two, out of Russia and China, the Chinese president would be, the Chinese president and the Chinese people would be the ones that
Okay.
spearhead releasing us. Yeah, they the ones got the most to lose because, like I said, they the ones behind the, where they got their face on it, the Road and Belt Initiative.
Right.
So they need us in order for that to hit off. They need us over there. So that's why they here. That's why they want America gone, so they can take us, put us back over there in Africa, just spearhead that Road and Belt Initiative with cryptocurrency as the number one currency. Is that something?
Yeah. Gonna be like Robin Hood. Take from the
Right.
rich, give to us.
Is that something? Yeah. So yeah. With that being said, anybody else have any comments on that?
Yeah, just something real quick to add to that, Leonard. I have read about more of the cyber attacks coming from China,
Right.
with Russia assistance. So I did read about that a couple of days ago. That's
Right.
something that they've been dealing with. And Ben, I'm in the tech world. A lot of systems been up and down throughout the country lately, where certain companies haven't been reported a lot, but a lot of systems have been going offline and coming back up. So they could have been hitting with these attacks already.
Right, exactly. Right, yeah. I did a class on Israel probably a couple years ago. I'm gonna go back and check that out. But they have this. They're the leaders. A lot of people don't know that, but Russia is a leader in technology. Now, armory, all the different type of weapons the weapons that's coming up. All these countries going into Russia. Israel. Israel to get their technology. Israel is a leader in all these different applications. Computer applications. They the ones they dealing with all that. All these security applications that the people using for the security in their countries. The Israelis own the patent to them.
Oh yeah, I've seen that before.
Right.
That's why the U.S. have a strong pact with them.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a setup because they're the ones they know how to use them, how to come in and shut them down or whatever. They, like I was saying before, it's Ezra tell us it's 3 heads at the very end. We see Russia and China, and that's 2. We know America ain't the third one. It's these Edomites, Israel. At the very end, the head woke up. The middle head woke up and ate up the other 2 heads. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Okay. Anybody got anything else on that? Yeah. So I was talking the other day with we was talking about I was telling you I was in Ezekiel and I was trying to find that about that contraption that was in Ezekiel chapter 1. I got it right here. I was, like I said, some stuff I hadn't dealt with in a minute. So it was in Ezekiel 10. We're gonna read it right here, and then I'm gonna go ahead and go and tell my kids this right quick. It's Ezekiel chapter 10. It's one of those wow moments. So I showed you that in Ezekiel 1, these 4 angels carrying this contraption. They got wheels, wheels in a wheel, and then it's lifting up, and the Lord of hosts, Yahweh is on top of it, on top of a sapphire stone, and then it's moving, going different places. So I'm in chapter 10 of Ezekiel chapter verse 1. I'm gonna start reading, and this go back to the glory, the cloud of glory, of what we was talking about. So chapter 10 says, God's glory departs from the temple, right? So let's look at it. And the temple that's in Zion and Yahweh's. Yahweh got his own temple in heaven. The temple that's on Mount Zion belongs to the Lord of hosts, Michael. So it says, then I looked, and behold, in the firmament that was above the heads of the cherubim. See that? I take you right back to Ezekiel chapter 1. In the firmament, above the heads of the cherubim, there appeared unto them as they were a sapphire stone. So that's Yahweh. As the appearance of a likeness of a throne, right? See, and he spake unto a man clothed in linen, right? And said, go in between the wheels, there go the wheels, even under the cherub, and fill thine hand with coals of fire from between the cherubim, and scatter them over the city. And we're gonna see where this thing is at. The reason why he getting where he getting these coals from. And he went in, see that, in my sight. Ezekiel looking at this. Now the cherubim stood on the right side of the house. So this contraption landed on the side of the temple. It's sitting on the side of the temple. See that? So now the cherubim stood on the cherubim stood on the right side of the house when the man went in. See, look at this. And the cloud filled the inner court. So he went into the altar where the coals at. The contraption came down from heaven down on the side of the temple in Jerusalem. This man in linen get out and go on down between the cherubims, go into the temple. The cloud there. People can't see. He goes in and gets the coals off the temple, off the altar, inside the temple. See that? So he says, 4. Then the glory of the Lord went up from the cherubim. See that? So this is the Lord of hosts. He went up off of the sapphire stone, off of where this contraption that they're carrying. He went up off of that. So it says, then the glory of the Lord of hosts went up from the cherubim, and stood over the threshold of the house. Now he moved over to where the temple is. And the house was filled with the cloud, and the court was full of the brightness of the Lord's glory. And the sound of the cherubim wings. Here you go. Same sound was in Ezekiel chapter 1. And the sound of the cherubim's wings was heard even to the outer court. And the voice of the Almighty, see that? Almighty God, when he speak. And it came to pass that when he had commanded the man clothed in linen, saying, take fire from between the wheels and from between the cherubim, then he went in and stood beside the wheels. And one of the cherubim stretched forth his hands from between the cherubim and unto the fire that was between the cherubim, and took thereof and put it in the hands of him that was clothed with linen, and he took it and went out. So I just want to show you. You can read all that. You can read all that with. I'm gonna give you a jump start. So yeah. So that's what's going on with that. We reading over. Like I say, so much stuff we read over because of JC. You ain't reading it right. But Yahweh came down and with these four angels, these four creatures, and sit down on the side of the temple. Then he get off of there, get off of that, and go over the top over the temple, over the brazen lava, whatever that is, and over where the altar is. So it's like he came down and visiting the Lord of Hosts temple.
Michael, a bad man to have that code be placed in his hand.
Like that something?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So like I said, we've been fumbling with that. But I was over in Ezekiel 40.
Right, but I think it's 43 though. Look at 43 because I think the same thing is taking place there. If we could look at that real quick.
All right. Ezekiel 43.
Yes, sir.
3.
I think around that third verse.
Okay, 43 says, and it was according to the appearance of the vision which I saw, even according to the vision that I saw when I came to destroy the city. And the vision went were like the vision that I saw by the river Kabor, and I fell upon my face. Yeah, he's letting you know that it's the same cloud, and the same what was in the cloud in Ezekiel chapter 1, which was Yah, and these four angels. Same thing right here.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Then he let you know in verse 4, the glory of the Lord came into the house. So that's the temple.
Right. See, that's the one that got me right there. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Right. That's the temple that's in Jerusalem. They saying house, but it's the temple. Yeah. Any comments? Yeah, I said I was gonna bring that up. I went back and got it. So I'm gonna bring it up. So I don't know what everybody that's on the line know about Melchizedek. Anybody have any kind of inkling or whatever what they think who Melchizedek is? No comments.
We know Melchizedek to be Shem, who was a king and a priest.
Right.
In Salem.
And so the number one thing about Melchizedek is he's a teacher of righteousness, right?
Yes.
He's a teacher of righteousness. And so I was listening to something today when they went to the point where believing whether he was a Gentile and concocted the book said he had neither beginnings or end. He didn't have no beginning or no end, right?
Yeah, that's what the New Testament say.
Okay, do that make any sense?
Well, everyone was born of a mother.
Right. Well,
everyone got to pass this life.
Right. So let's look at that. If he ain't got no beginning or end, then it's Yahweh. Right? If he ain't got no beginning, no end, that's the self-existent one. That's Yahweh. That's what I mean by how ignorant they got beside themselves. I mean, how is this being entity or whatever have no beginning and no end? If he don't have no beginning or end, it's Yahweh. And we know it ain't Yahweh. That's how crazy that is. So let's look at it. So the Q is he's a teacher of righteousness, right? So I'm over here in Jasher, and I'm dealing with Canaan. Canaan, it says Canaan grew up and he was 40 years old. And I think Canaan is like the third from Adam. Yeah. Canaan grew up and he was 40 years old and he became wise. See that? Wise. We're going to kill two birds with one stone. They say wisdom is a woman. So he became wise and had knowledge and skill in all wisdom. And he reigned over all the sons of men. And he led the sons of men to wisdom and knowledge. And Canaan was a very wise man and had understanding in all wisdom. And with his wisdom, look at this. And with his wisdom, he ruled over spirits and demons. And Canaan knew by his wisdom that God would destroy the sons of men from having sinned upon the earth. And that the Lord would, in his the latter days, bring upon them the waters of the flood. Okay? So, and in those days, Canaan wrote upon tablets of stone that was to take place in the time to come, and he put them in the treasure. And Canaan, look at this, Canaan reigned. So if he reigned, he's a king. Melchizedek, the male part is king. So he reigns over the whole earth, and he turned some of the sons of men to the service of God. Right? So then we get on down to chapter 3. That's what Canaan was doing. So now we, chapter 3, verse 1, Enoch. And Enoch lived 65 years and begot Methuselah. And Enoch walked with God after having begotten Methuselah, and he served the Lord. See that? Served the Lord. Ain't no temple, ain't no priesthood, none of that. But he served the Lord and despised the evil ways of men. And the soul of Enoch, look at this, the soul of Enoch was wrapped up in the instructions of the Lord, in knowledge and in understanding. And he wisely retired from the sons of men, and he secreted himself from them for many days. And it was at the expiration of many years, while he was serving the Lord and praying before him in his house, that an angel of the Lord called him from heaven, and he said, "Here I am." And he said, "Rise." See, we know who this is, Lord of hosts. And he said, "Rise, go forth from that house and from the place where I do hide thyself, and appear unto the sons of men," right? In order that you may teach them. That's who Melchizedek is, teacher of righteousness. In order that you may teach them the way in which they should go and the work in which they must accomplish to enter into the ways of the law of God. And Enoch rose up according to the words of God and went forth from his house, from his place, and from the chambers in which he was concealed. See that? This is who he is right here. And he went to the sons of men, taught them the ways of the Lord. And at that time, he assembled the sons of men and acquainted them with the instructions of the Lord. And he ordered it to be proclaimed in all places where his sons of men dwelt, saying, "Where is the man who wishes to know the ways of the Lord and his good works? And let him come to Enoch." And all the sons of men then assembled to him, for all who desire this thing went to Enoch. Enoch reigned over the sons of men. There you go, he reigned. So we see Canaan reigned over him. Canaan was a king. And now we see Enoch a king. So it says, and all the kings of the sons of men, both first and last, together with their princes and judges, came to Enoch when they heard his wisdom, and they bowed down to him. See that? So go look what Abraham did when he met Melchizedek. He came, Melchizedek, and bowed down and gave him a tenth of his offerings. So we see that right here. So we know it's a man already. We ain't even got to fumble with it. So he says, and they bowed down to him, and they and also required of Enoch to reign over them, to which he consented. Right. So we see now that this order of Melchizedek is from Adam to Noah. That's why he saved Noah on the boat. And when Noah got off the boat, Noah was Melchizedek. He the one He took over. That's the priesthood. And then Shem took over after Noah died. That's who Abraham met. Let's look at it right quick. Then we can, let's look at it right quick. Let me read it right quick. I mean, Genesis chapter 4. See where they get over here, they got all this stuff separated. But that ain't working no more, like I said. So I'm in chapter 14, verse 17 of Genesis, and it says, and the king of Sodom went out to meet him after his return from the slaughter of Calamer, and the kings that were with him, and at the valley of Shiva, which is the Kingsdale, and Melchizedek, king of Shalom, brought forth bread and wine, and he was a priest of the Most High God, and he blessed him and said, blessed be Abraham of the Most High God, possessor of heaven and earth. So this ain't none other than Shem. Adam, I mean, we know from the book of Joshua, Abraham had went there at 10 years old, running from Nimrod. He went there and lived with Shem, Eber, and Noah. So he already knows it. So when he showed up right here, Abraham got down on the ground. Blessed him. This who taught Abraham. So what did Abraham receive? He received the knowledge of Melchizedek from Melchizedek. So when Shem passed, that rested on Abraham. That's why Rebecca went to him when her stomach was messed up. He was Melchizedek. Okay.
Hey, Leonard, I got a question.
Go ahead.
In Psalms 110, verse 4, David is proclaimed to be a priest after the order of Melchizedek.
Right, okay.
Right? So who taught him those priestly orders? Because we see that it was passed down from Adam to Seth on through Shem, even Abraham, rather. And so who taught David this order?
Lord of hosts. That's why all these Psalms are to him. We see in 2 Samuel chapter 7, David went in to the Lord and sit down and talk to him and asked him, who am I that you bringing me in here? So the same person that taught Enoch and taught all them taught David.
Okay.
He schooled David the same way. That's why David can do. And another thing you have to look at that. He got Gad was a priest or seer during the time of David. Nathan was a seer. But how did David get all the understanding, and how did David get all the temple, the blueprint to the temple for Solomon to build it? Nathan ain't bring it to him. Gad ain't bring it to him.
Mm-hmm.
See what I'm saying?
Okay.
Lord of hosts.
Right. Okay.
That's what I'm talking.
All right.
So, and that's why he king. All the rest of these kings that get on his throne is out of his lineage, but David is the king.
Okay.
Throne belongs to him, which is
so David is the last Melchizedek.
Right.
Correct.
Right.
So one last question on it. So between Jacob and David, there was no other Melchizedeks, correct? That was king and priest and taught righteousness.
Between I would say between Abraham and David.
Okay. So you feel like Isaac and Jacob was both was not a Melchizedek, rather? They was not.
I mean, you can say that Jacob was because when he wrestled with the angel, the angel told him, "You got favor with God, with me and God and man." But that's Melchizedek,
right? Okay.
And so now when you go back to, he had the when Abraham passed away, gave up the ghost, Isaac's tent was there and Jacob's tent was there. He bypassed Isaac's tent. That's why I had brought this up with people before, and posed the question to them. But it's something Isaac done. Like I said, even to the point where Isaac was gonna give Esau that blessing if Abraham hadn't told Sarah Rebecca what to do. He was gonna and then on top of that, it tells you Abraham died in his old age. He was still strong and everything, good. And Moses died in his old age and he was strong and good. All of them, but Isaac was blind. So something Isaac done. You know what I'm saying? They ain't really talked about it. But it's something was going on with Isaac, reason why all that stuff was going on. And not only that, he only had that one son, Isaac. I mean, Abraham had one son, but he had Esau
Jacob
and
Esau, yeah.
Right, and we know something went down with that situation as far as who Esau is,
right?
Where he came out. So some tied into that. The reason why, like I said, Abraham shunned him when it was time for him to get a ghost up. He bypassed Isaac's tent and went into Jacob's tent, curled up in Jacob's bed, and gave the ghost up. He didn't go to Isaac. Yeah, so something going on with it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Right.
Okay.
Ain't that something?
Yes, sir.
Right. Anybody else got anything? Okay, so we don't. Nobody had none. I'm gonna cut it off right there. I was listening to a session this morning, late on early today, and it was just amazing how people, after all that happened, they believe everything that these folks told them and wrote down, and they didn't, they can't discern. And right divide stuff, they're going by, what these clowns have said. When you see over and over again, it's nothing they even told you that's the truth. It's crazy. Okay, so everybody good.
There's a question in the chat.
Okay, let me see. Read Genesis 49:10. Till Shiloh come. Who is Shiloh? Glad you asked me that. I got a Shiloh of my own. 49:10, right? Genesis. Okay, 49:10 says, the scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet until Shiloh come, and unto him shall the gathering of the people be. So when you go back to and understand that when they got into the land, when they came into the land of Canaan, after they left Egypt, they got in the land of Canaan. It was a location they gathered at. It was called Shiloh, and from Shiloh they went out and it was like a command center. And they went out from there and divided the land into 12 parts. And they sectioned off the people that, the remainder people that lived there, put them in their cities, but the land was divided into 12 lots. But they did all that from Shiloh. They had the tabernacle in the wilderness and all that stuff was set up at Shiloh. Like I said, it was like a command center. And so the same thing got to happen. We go back. We gotta come together. You have these different people wanting to try to do the Most High work, but he said that he's going to regather us and he's going to bring us back together. He's going to cause us to come together as a people. It ain't nothing that nobody going to come and do. You see, he's going to do it in his own time. And so these people all came together at this place called Shiloh. And from there they went out and conducted their business once they got into the land, once they crossed the Jordan. They crossed the Jordan, set up Shiloh, and then from Shiloh, they did the Most High business as far as pertaining to 12 tribes of Israel. Okay? Anybody else got anything? Everybody good?
All good.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm gonna see the men on Tuesday night for the men's line, and then we'll go from there. A new week. I want to say shalom, everybody. I'll see y'all on Tuesday.
Shalom, shalom, everyone.
Okay.
Shalom.
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 Shalom.